2, 1.
Opening quote, respect food. The body is made of food. Food and body exist to serve the self.
Yep.
That was from the first Upanishad that we read, and I was commenting to Christian as we were setting up that I've been smoke-free for 5 days, going on 6, and I've been countering that or filling that gap with eating. So a lot of eating. So it was interesting. Actually, I think food even comes up in another one of the Upanishads later.
Yep.
So it was just sort of this theme that God or the self was like, eat.
Eat.
It's really what you've been wanting to do all these years that you've been smoking. You
Food.
actually just wanted to eat.
Food is energy.
Precisely.
Food is prana. Yeah. Yeah.
So we're wrapping up
Wrapping up
the
our book.
Upanishads that are
Yeah.
listed. Yeah, that are in this book. Of course, there, what was it, like 118 total Upanishads or something like that.
Something
But
like
we've got
that.
two sort of, I guess, regular length ones,
Yeah.
as it were, and then I think it was it three? Oh yeah, four.
Four minor
So-called
ones.
minor. I think more on the. Oh yeah, they're minor because they weren't commented by a particular guru, but they're not minor
Yeah.
in the sense of being of lesser importance.
Right. They're also
Probably sort of
shorter
like
too.
they are shorter, and also sort of like actually, like the what do you call it? The major prophets and the minor prophets in the Old Testament. It's not like the minor prophets are sort of second class, but
Right.
actually I think they're shorter. I really do. I do think they're shorter, not in stature, but. So the first one, are we going to go with Taittiriya or Taittiriya?
Taittiriya or Taittiriya?
Yeah, I wasn't sure
Tiriya.
if the
Yeah,
A and
Taittiriya.
the I didn't know
I.
where the syllable break went, if it was with the TA and the
Yeah, like,
IT.
is it Taittiriya? Like, is there?
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. Would need to look
with
into
that double
that
T
because the
sort of
double
throws
T
you
could
off.
be like a trill, or it could be
Yeah,
like aspirated, like
sure.
Taittiriya or something
Yes.
like that. Yeah,
Hmm.
because that's like a Hindi um, phoneme.
Interesting.
Yeah, like Sanskrit and Hindi, where
All right, well then
basically
I'm
you'll
going to
have
go
the
with
t or
your
the t with the
right
little breath of air.
aspiration, right?
Yeah, aspiration.
I'm going to go with yours. So what do you feel
I
more comfortable
think
saying?
Taittiriya. I think. I
Okay,
don't know. That's just my guess.
Celia.
Yeah.
So that was the first one we went over, or the first one that we read.
Hmm.
This one deals a lot with, at least the introduction made a distinction between sort of joy and pleasure, right?
Yes.
That
Yeah.
was this introduction.
I felt
Yeah,
like I
this
noticed that more in the introduction than I did in the actual
throughout the
text.
Upanishad. Yeah, yeah,
But
that
this
could
one
happen.
has, yeah, this one has. I think throughout the whole thing, it talks a lot about these concepts, like the vibrations, the
Oh my
bur,
gosh.
bhuva,
Yeah,
suvar, and maha,
it,
and like relating those to specific things. And there's a
yeah,
lot of, um, I don't know, like poetic like rhyme in this Upanishad
sure.
particularly. Like there's a lot of repetition in the
Yeah.
statements. Like I mean, it just
Well,
starts off with the Lord of
yeah.
May the Lord of Day grant us peace, and then it repeats with Lord of Night, Sight,
Night
Might,
grant us
Speech,
peace.
and
Yeah,
Space,
yeah,
which are these are like different words that you'll see repeated again in this Upanishad and in others. So
yeah.
yeah. Um,
Yeah, and then yeah, so that you've got sort of that repetition
hmm
throughout part one, section one, and then section two. Let us learn the art of recitation,
hmm
um, which I thought was actually that's warrants just reading the whole thing. It's short enough, which calls for knowledge of letters, accent, measure, emphasis, sequence, and rhythm. Um, and yeah, I mean, this is there's. I mean, I actually think that the well, art of recitation. I mean, art of recitation can also be literally reciting something, right?
hmm
Um, but it brings to my mind the use of something like Om or a mantra.
Hmm.
I'm not sure if that's what they're getting at here, but that the importance of Om, the importance of the mantra, the importance of the repeating of the mantra, which makes a mantra,
Hmm.
is so crucial within the Upanishads. It's fundamental. Like you've got like the Om's got to be on your lips, on in your mind continually.
Right.
Although I think that in one of these Upanishads it says that the student who's arrived can actually um,
Oh,
uh,
like,
like be released from that.
yeah, yeah. Hmm.
The one that has self realization.
Hmm.
Um, so which is really interesting too, because I think you're going to find this within Buddhism. I don't know if we're going to find this within a lot of the other religions, unless they're mystical, the
Hmm.
mystical branches of the religion, where you're doing this repetitive sound,
Hmm.
ultimately to get, I would say, to quiet the monkey mind, you know, and within this context, realize what you really are, which is the capital S self,
Hmm.
you know. So did you want to talk about the vibrations? That was sort of that one was a tricky section.
Yeah, it was. I feel like I need a chart to map all of these.
Yeah.
But essentially, in part five, it really starts talking about. It says Bur or Bahur, Bahuvas,
Uh-huh.
Suvar are three vibrations. Mahachamasya taught a fourth, Maha, to stand for the
Right.
self. And so you have those first three are like dedicated to a specific thing, and then Maha is
Right.
like the self, so it's like more
Represents.
overarching.
Sure.
So you get statements like when Bor is the earth, Bahuva space between, and Suvar the world above, Maha
Hmm.
is the sun that nourishes life everywhere. So you get like these three
Yeah.
specific things, and then you get
Hmm.
this overarching nourishing thing.
Right.
You get Bor is fire, Bahuvas is air, Suvar is the sun, and Maha the moon that supports all the planets and celestial bodies.
Hmm.
Interesting to make the comparison between the moon doing that and then Suvar being the sun, um,
Yes.
but maybe it's more poetic.
In that.
Um, you
Well,
get,
I think when things change, right? When things change, so the context changes there. The first one is Earth,
yeah,
space,
that's true.
world, and then sun is sort of the foundation, as it were, or
Yeah.
the tie that binds. And then shifting the perspective, fire, air, sun.
Hmm.
Now it's the moon. It's in this one. It almost seems like the Maha is the opposite of the others, right? Fire, sun, air, right?
Yeah,
You've got
yeah.
something that's right.
Moon is
Whereas,
reflective.
yeah,
Uh, I don't know. It's there when the others aren't, I guess.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Well, it almost seems too. Look, in the first one, with Burr being the earth, when he closes with sun that nourishes life everywhere,
yeah.
like you know what I'm saying. I wonder if Burr's sort of the lead. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. We
Right,
also
because
get,
it's the sun that nourishes the life on Earth
yeah.
in
Oh,
the
yeah.
first one. That's what I was sort of thinking. But it
Sun
doesn't really work in
supporting.
two. Burr is fire, the moon that supports all the planets and celestial bodies. I'm not sure. Okay.
Yeah. Then we get a comparison to the
Vedas.
Vedas. So you get the
Yep.
Bor is the Rig, Bahuvas the Sama, and Suvar the Yajur, and Maha is
Yeah.
Brahman. So Maha is
Yeah.
literally Brahman in that
Right.
sense. Wisdom that nourishes all four Vedas. Um,
That would be the Maha, right?
yes.
Is the wisdom,
Interesting
right?
that it mentions all four when there are three,
Yeah.
but
Well, wait a minute.
is Brahman a
Rig,
Veda?
Sama. No, it's not.
No.
It's
Okay. Yeah, I didn't.
Atarva or something. The Atarva's not there though,
Oh,
not listed.
interesting. Interesting.
Um, so that is interesting. But I think it's four that gives us really what these. Well, I don't know if it's what these things are, but it at least gives you a different image
It
of
give
them, other
yeah.
than right. It's prana. Bur is prana upward.
Hmm.
Bhuvas, I guess prana downward.
Which wouldn't that
Suvar
just be
prana
a Apana
widespread.
or Upana?
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
actually, that would yes.
I think so.
And then there we go again. Maha is the food that nourishes the vital forces.
Hmm. Hmm.
This one was sort of tricky. I think it's sort of I mean, it reminds me of the image that I sent you last time that dealt with the movement of air or energy. I think it was
Yeah.
air,
I think
air
there's the
and energy
pranas in
or
the
air.
body, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So this one now, I feel like, okay, now we're dealing with another element of, let's just say their metaphysic or their science that deals with vibrations.
Hmm.
Either, I'm not sure if this is within the world or within the body or
Right.
both. But I'm sorry, it probably is both. Everything is interconnected. See, I was falling into the trap of dualism there. Is it in this or
Hmm.
is it in that? Well, it's probably in everything. You know,
Yeah.
um, thus these vibrations are four times four. Those who understand them realize the self and are loved by all. So that would be interesting to sort of get into that a little bit, as it relates to the pranas, vibrations, and then ultimately chakras. I'm not
Hmm.
sure if the other text will bring that up.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Um,
But if you want to become one with fire, you can chant Bor. If you want to become one with air, you can chant
yep.
Bahuvus, and one with
Hmm.
the sun, Suvar, um, or one with the Lord, Maha.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like all of these, right? One becomes king of his own life, ruler
Hmm.
of his passions, senses, and intellect. So possibly, once again, sort of the end goal is control,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm. Yeah,
Um,
and actually, this makes me like these elements remind me of. I think it's one of the Minor Upanishads, maybe the last one.
yeah. Oh, there was one that was solid. There was
It was
one that was
one.
my favorite,
Yeah,
actually.
I think it
Yeah.
was a
Let's
minor,
just jump
but
to it. Let's just jump to it. We
yeah,
don't have to
yeah,
do
yeah.
this in order.
Let's see.
There was one where I was like, this one. uh,
Was it a minor one?
it
I
just
think it was.
it spoke to me.
Well,
Oh, it
I'm.
was the last. No, no, no. It
Oh
was
no, it
the.
was the one before.
Well, for me, it was the one before that was my favorite. The I'm sorry, Amritabindu. Amritabindu Upanishad. That was the one. That was the one where I was like, I literally wrote a personal favorite over
Oh,
that one.
where is that?
But
I,
what
I'm
were
thinking. What
you?
I'm thinking of is the where the elements are listed out and they become the. Oh yeah, I think it's the. Yes, no, it's the second one in our list, which is the eight Aitareya.
Oh, it's the second one.
Yeah, the
Okay.
second one
Yeah.
in the part two.
Hmm.
Um, it's talking about yeah, these guardians into their mighty ocean of existence. The self caused them to hunger and thirst. They said to the self, "Give us a place where we
Okay.
can."
Part two or section two?
Oh, section two. Section two.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. Go for
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah, I see the
yeah.
Guardians now. Hmm.
Yeah, give us a place where we can live and eat. He brought them the form of a cow. They said, "This is not what we desire." He brought them the form of a horse. They said again, "This is not what we desire." He brought them a human form. They said, "Enjoy. Just right. A human body is just right for us." The self asked them to enter the body and take up their place. Fire, becoming speech, entered
Yes.
the mouth. Air, becoming smell, entered the nose. The
Hmm.
sun, becoming sight, entered the eyes. Sounds in space, becoming hearing, entered the ears. Plants, herbs, and trees, becoming hair, entered the skin. The moon, becoming mind, entered the heart. Interesting that it's in the heart, but also interesting
Yeah.
that the moon is the mind. Um,
Sure.
the god of death became downward force, entered the navel. The god of living water became becoming sperm, entered the sex organ. Hunger and thirst said to the self, "Give us a place." He told them, "Enter into these guardians and share their life with them. Thus hunger and thirst for food, drink, and pleasure attend us, whatever we do in life."
That's a great like creation myth,
Yeah, I
right?
love I love that. And it's just like being able to like
Well, it's
see those elements kind of tied into the aspects of the self. Like
yes, yes.
fire is speech. Like I don't know, I feel like
Well, I
it gives it
think that
another texture.
there's an element about this tradition,
Hmm.
this and this philosophy, this wisdom tradition, where the microcosm is entirely connected or reflected by, connected and reflected by, or I'm sorry, the microcosm, I'm sorry, the macrocosm is connected to and reflected by the microcosm
Hmm.
entirely. I mean, that you just listed everything out there. In other words, it's the entire all of our five senses, or and some, because you
Yeah.
probably add some more, right? But all our entire makeup in some way reflects, and I mean, we can say it's connected because we know the Brahman Atman is connected, but
Hmm.
mirrors metaphorically, scientifically, the world outside, you know,
Yeah.
which is really, which is, as I see it, it sort of speaks to the unitive element of Upanishadic thinking, or
Hmm.
the how it's integrated, right?
Hmm.
Everything's integrated. Everything is like, there's nothing sort of like accidental. You know,
Yeah.
maybe maybe other than the appendix or the tonsil, but they probably even have an explanation for it. You know,
Hmm.
right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's intriguing. Whereas you think about like the creation of like Adam, it's out of dirt,
Hmm.
right? Which, by the way, poetically is beautiful. Um, you know, breath of life, and then body.
Yeah.
But there's no explanation. There's no sense of like why eyes, why mouth, why nose, why, right, why
Right. Right.
ears. We just, and then whereas here we get it all,
Yeah. Hmm.
right? All, you know, these are all like, you know,
And what I like
um,
about
it,
it too,
mm,
fire a little less, but like air becoming smell. It's like that
yeah.
is the medium by which we smell,
It
right?
actually,
Like
I've been
sun.
smelling a lot more in the air since I quit smoking on Monday. So
Yeah.
yes, and I mean, I
Hmm.
walk out and I'll take a deep breath and I'm like, this is what nature smells like. So
Oh,
air
it's
is right
good.
on.
Sun becoming sight. It's like the only reason you see is because there's something glowing, and it's the primary source is the
Exactly.
sun. And it's like, I don't know.
Yes.
It makes me think of the non-dualistic aspect where it's like, where does the seer and the seen begin, right? Like, is there a division
Yes.
between them? And if
That's
there's
a good
not,
one.
it's like, well, the sun is your sight essentially. Um,
Yes.
and
Well,
I
and you
love
can
that
also
connection.
play it out without light you're not seeing.
Yeah. Hmm.
That there's another way,
Yeah.
or another connection to that, uh to those two being connected,
Hmm. Yeah.
What was the one about smell?
Air becoming
Oh,
smell.
air, that was air, and
Yep.
then sun, sight, sounds in space, hearing.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
clear. Yeah, the fire becoming speech a little less clear, but
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
I'm sure you can come up with some
Yeah, yeah,
relations.
probably. You'd think it would almost be air, but
Yeah.
fire is,
Well, I mean,
right, right.
speech is interesting because you already have sound and space becoming hearing, and speech is
Mhm.
just our production of sound. And so it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, what in nature that is, I mean, these are all like not organisms, right? These are all like elements.
Yes.
Which
Yes.
what in nature
Yes.
makes sound? And it's like, okay, well,
Yeah.
fire is pretty clear. It's like the crackle,
Mhm. The
like
crackle.
your
Yeah, yeah,
voice.
yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, or it would be something else you'd find, like what element vibrates. That would be close to it, right?
yeah.
Because you need some type of vibration
Hmm.
in order to create sound, right? You need to have a voice box that is,
Yeah.
essentially emitting some type of sound. So yeah, although fire, as we'll find in the Rig Veda, is going to be very important, right? In terms of the fire ritual that came
Okay.
up
Oh
earlier,
yeah.
right?
Hmm.
And there, and I'm sure we'll learn a bunch of other rituals as well. Um, the one I really liked, I'm going to be jumping ahead a little bit,
Okay.
is oh, this one was beautiful. Hold on. Well, we can maybe go back to that one, but in a bit. But what was it in this section?
There's one section from the first one
Well, I'm
too.
sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, I moved away. So in the first one, the Taittiriya, page 250, section 11. I loved the whole thing.
Wait, which part?
This one was
250?
just a section. Yeah, page 250. So section 11.
Mm-hmm.
This is to the householder, the whole section.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but there was just something about this one where it's a series of imperatives
Mm.
on sort of the right life or right living, and I felt that they were in a sense maybe like a great summary of Upanishadic wisdom, but also just poignant. So, having taught the Vedas, the teacher says, "Speak the truth." I mean, you could literally have this on a poster,
Yeah.
Christian. Speak the truth, do your duty, neglect not the scriptures, Vedas in this case. I'm sorry, give your best to your teacher. Do not cut off the line of progeny. Swerve not from the truth. Swerve not from the good. Protect your spiritual progress always. Give your best in learning and teaching. Never fail to respect the sages. See the divine in your mother, father, teacher, and guest. Never do what is wrong. Honor those who are worthy of honor. Give with faith. Give with love. Give with joy. If you are in doubt about right conduct, follow the example of the sages who know what is best for spiritual growth. This is the instruction of the Vedas. This is the secret. This is the message. And actually sort of beautiful too. There's a poetic sort of feel in terms
Hmm.
of the movement of it. So it's not just like the Ten Commandments, which are not meant to be poetic, but there's a sort of poetic tempo and word choice as well, especially like swerve not from the truth, swerve
Hmm.
not from the good in it. That one just uh, sort of hit me when I read it. And also, too, to go universal, we're probably going to find like over about 90% of this in all world religions, right?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it starts with speak the truth, and I don't know if there's
Hmm.
any religion that doesn't
I
want that. I
don't
mean,
think so.
It's a
Exactly.
Kantian law
Yes.
too.
Right. Exactly. So,
Do
yeah,
your duty, yeah.
that one was really good. And there's been so much mention of the Vedas. So when we read the Rig Vedas, I think this will, and as I said before, even though we're doing this out of order, it might be beneficial because
This is like
we're in a
reflective on it, right?
yeah, exactly. We're like, what are the Vedas? Like, let's read this finally, you
Yeah.
know? And the general appreciation, even though we've had some Upanishads which were like, you need to go beyond sort of the rituals of the Vedas, or the
Hmm.
Vedas alone won't do it, you know? But never do they, it seems like most Upanishads have great respect for the role of the Vedas,
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
know?
The part
All
a
right.
couple
Yeah,
pages
go for
after
it.
that,
Is it the
um,
sheath?
the
We're
sheath.
gonna go to the sheaths. This was where they were.
Uh,
Is that where you're gonna go or no?
yeah,
Where
I'm
the
trying to remember
makeup
the
of the
sheath.
body.
No, well, wait. The
That's
part
a,
that I'm going to is 254.
yeah. Let's do
Um,
that because this.
this this block, ver I don't know where the verses are, but like 7.1 is in the middle of it.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I see
Um,
it.
I love the wording here. So it goes,
Are we
he who
starting at 7.1
right
or the
before
right
that, that
before
whole
it?
block,
Mhm.
yeah. He who has no form assumed many forms. He who is infinite appeared finite. He who is everywhere assumed a place. And this is my favorite line of the bunch. He who is
Yeah.
all wisdom caused ignorance.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember reading that.
He who is real caused unreality. It is he who has become everything. It is he who gives reality to all. Before the universe was created, Brahman existed as unmanifest. Brahman brought the Lord out of himself, therefore he is called the self-existent. And I don't know. I like
Yeah.
this one. It goes to that concept of
Totally.
Leela that we had talked about before, and I think
Yeah.
has been related in other ones. But it's like this all-knowing entity broke apart and became these
Sure.
individual aspects. And it's like this idea that all wisdom can become ignorance. I don't know. It's like
Yeah.
many pieces of ignorance becomes all wisdom
Sure.
almost.
Sure. Totally. The sum total, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because you have like when we had a earlier we were talking about the senses, like literally just a few
Hmm.
minutes ago. You
Yep.
have a sort of the it's like a creation myth or creation story on the human, right, and the human senses. Here, you have like a cosmology.
Mm-hmm.
creation myth, like the origin of it all, like why, right? Like
Yeah.
where did everything come from, kind of thing, and it starts at least on the top of 254, right before the section you read. The Lord of
Mm-hmm.
Love willed, I love this, let me be many,
Yep.
let me be many, and in the depths of his meditation, he created everything that exists. Meditating, he entered into everything, right? And then we have the
Mm-hmm.
section you read.
Yep.
So you get this. I mean, it's interesting. Like, so you have. I mean, I guess it's hard to fully grasp an image, right? Because we're not dealing with a body here,
Mm-hmm.
right? We're dealing, I guess, with ultimate consciousness, who itself is alone, right?
Yep.
As it were, it itself is alone. There is no other individual, as
Yeah.
it were, with the Lord of Love, and then let me be many,
Yep.
right? I also think too, what's interesting, and so the let me be many is almost sort of like the let there be light. All of a sudden now we've got something else being created other than God.
Yeah.
Although in that narrative, uh, God is separate from everything God creates.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
In this one, not so. But I also think what's interesting is what is God doing in this creative act, second line, in the depths of his meditation. So in other words, meditation is primordial.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the first things that has ever happened, right?
Yep.
He created everything that exists. So it sets a standard then for the rest of, uh, let's say, Brahmanic history or cosmic history
Mm-hmm.
of like the importance of meditation, right? This is what your God is doing, right?
It's what he did to
Um,
make it all, and what he did to enter into
yeah,
it all. Yeah.
exactly, right, exactly. Because it says that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Meditating, he entered into everything. Um, and it's wild, right?
Yeah.
As you read, um, yeah, he has no form, so just pure consciousness assumed many forms, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there you can sort of see, animals, plants, landscapes, mountains,
Yeah.
amoeba, and then infinite appeared finite. I think
Individual.
the
Yeah.
two ones, yeah, it's everywhere, but now it's assumed a place because we are located in a place, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the yeah, you sort of hinted at the all wisdom caused ignorance, right? Because we're all sort of now broken into these pieces,
Yeah.
and we have partial wisdom or partial, intelligence, but we're having this conversation because we're trying to wonder, like, how do we answer the big questions? So we don't know.
Yeah. We have a lot to
Um,
learn. Yeah.
how do you take he who is real caused unreality? That
That
was
one.
an
That
interesting one.
one's. Yeah. That one's really interesting. Um. I
Because
don't
I was
know.
caught.
It
I remember
almost.
reading this section. Yeah, I remember I was reading this section. I was caught with both of the wisdom caused ignorance and the real caused unreality. I had a little bit more grasp of the wisdom, but I
Yeah.
was like, he was real caused unreality.
Caused unreality. This is really weird, and I would love to know the original, I guess, Sanskrit
Sure,
or Hindi, and
sure.
see the how it can be translated. But I mean, we trust we trust this translator pretty well because
Yeah.
he's a native. Um, but yeah, unreality. I don't know. It kind of makes me think like if the Lord of Love is real and he spends
Mhm.
his time meditating to create the universe, like the
Yes.
universe is just
Yes.
his imagination and it's not real. Like
Mm,
that's kind of what I'm
mm.
thinking, but I don't know if
Sure,
that's
sure,
what it's
sure,
getting
sure.
at. And
Yeah.
like he's simulating it, in
Yeah.
his meditation. What do
Well,
you think?
what is interesting? I mean, I'll take a stab and then I'll quickly run and get the other text
Hmm.
and see what the translation is there because
Mm. Oh yeah.
we know it'll be different than this by
Yeah.
default. But my sense, keying off of what you said, is what is it? Maya?
Hmm.
Maya
Or
is the illusion. Is Maya the illusion?
yes, the game. Yeah, the illusion. Hmm.
Yeah. So it could be the case. So in other words, we are. I mean, let's just go back to the Brahman Atman nexus. Uh, I am not experiencing that. I'm not experiencing that day to day.
Mm-hmm.
It's only the sages and the students and these disciplines where you get to get some sense of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or in a deep dream state, right? But I'm not experiencing that. That's ultimate reality,
Mm-hmm.
that I am Brahman. This is derivative, surface,
Mm-hmm.
however you want to put it. And in some sense, it's not to say that it's not real. It's just it's not ultimate.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the ultimate reality. There's something deeper than what I am experiencing in this world.
Sure.
Give me like 2 seconds. I know
Yeah.
exactly where the book is.
Okay.
Well, remind me what the name of the it's the Thai.
Tai.
Yeah,
Yeah. Taittiriya. Taittiriya. While you're looking that up, let me see if I can find a pronunciation on that.
there you go. Perfect. It's got to be in here. Upanishads. Yep, 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 yep. So, what was this section? What?
Taittiriya
What was the section for
Taittiriya
me?
Upanishad.
Yeah.
Taittiriya. Oh yeah. Oh, it was yeah. Taittiriya is how this YouTube video pronounced it.
57. Okay.
And then it was
Seventy-nine.
7.1, part two,
Oh, 7.1?
around 7.1. Yeah.
Okay, hold on, hold on. Okay, that's good. So I'm in it. Seven. Hold on, but I need to be in one. Oh no, these are pretty short. Oh, okay. Okay, I'll just read the whole thing. I think
Yeah.
it's just
Starting with let me be many around there. Yeah. Or
uh is that oh
that
no,
might be
that's
six.
six.
Yeah.
That's six.
Starting with six. Yeah.
So I'll try and go, yeah, 6-1.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. So 6-1, hold on. Okay, yeah. So yeah, I found it. He had this desire, let me multiply myself, let me produce offspring. Check this out. So he heated himself up.
Whoa.
When he had heated himself up, he emitted this whole world, everything that is here. After emitting it, he entered that very world. And after entering it, he became in turn Sat and Tiat, the distinct and indistinct, the resting and the never resting, the perceived and the non perceived, the real Satya and the unreal, I guess it's Anrita. He became the real, everything that is here. That is why people call all this Sat, real.
Huh.
On this too, we have the following verse. Now, this goes into 7:1. In the beginning, this world was non existent, and from it rose the existent. By itself, it made a body, Atman, for itself. Therefore, it is called well made,
Huh.
that's all 7:1. That's interesting about the heat.
Wow. Yeah. Heat instead
So,
of
wait a minute. So,
meditation.
seven, yeah, yeah, yeah. So, I would be, yeah, yeah. So, that whole, you got the feel of the he who has no form assume many
Yeah.
forms,
Mm-hmm.
a bit of it anyway.
It blurs. It's shorter. It feels
Yeah,
shorter in that other version.
yeah. So it does exactly.
Interesting. Yeah, I wonder if that translation is more literal, like it's like trying to be word for
I
word or
want,
phrase for
yes,
phrase,
exactly,
whereas
and there
this
and
one with
is more of a
yeah
poetic.
Eknath Iswaran is trying to get the essence across.
Yes, exactly. And I
Hmm.
think I think you're right. You're
Yeah.
right. It's almost like there are prose versions of, like, let's say Virgil's Aeneid's an epic poem, but
Hmm.
they'll put it into prose.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
so for whatever objective the translator is after.
Hmm.
Um, so, but that was my sense about sort of I mean, they didn't really get, that was about the reality. Hold on.
Yeah. No, they use the same wording. It's like real and unreal, which is
Wait,
interesting.
wait, 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 wait. Yeah. Oh, yes, exactly. No,
And
no,
I
you're
didn't
right.
pick up on the wisdom and ignorance bit, but there were some other wordings
No.
in there. Yeah.
Yeah, the resting and the never resting, the perceived and the non-perceived, the
Finite and
real and
infinite,
the
yeah.
unreal. And just to be clear, after entering it, he became these things.
Mm-hmm. It is
He
he who has
became the
become
real,
everything. It does
everything
say
that is
that in ours,
here.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
So, all right, should we move to the next? Yeah, let's move to the next.
Yeah, I think one quick note.
Oh, you want to talk about the story at the
Just
end
at
or
the
no?
very end, like the last bit,
Hmm.
since we were talking about food, food comes up again.
First, learn about food. Oh, this one's great. This is that whole like meditate,
Uh,
yeah, meditate again, right?
um,
Like he needs to keep on going back,
yes, yes, yep.
right?
So he just tells it like I think at first.
Sorry, for the listeners, the opening question is basically student to master, what
Mhm.
is Brahma?
What is Brahman?
And then Varuna, the master, says first learn about food,
Hmm.
and then he's in like fashion that we've seen in other Upanishads, the student then comes back, with another question, and he's like seek it through meditation. He meditates for a long time. He comes back, and he's like he still has more questions, and then the teacher just keeps on saying through meditation, and
Hmm.
then they keep on repeating this
Yeah,
back and
and
forth.
you
Anyway,
get this
sorry.
pattern too of from food are born all creatures, by food they grow, and
Hmm.
food they return. Then you get from life are born all creatures, by life they grow, and life they return. Then
Yeah.
you get from mind are born all creatures, by mind they grow and they return. From wisdom, from joy.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and then yeah, respect food. The body is made of
Yeah.
food. Food and
Yeah.
body exist to serve the self. Waste not food, waste not water, waste not fire.
Yeah.
Fire and water exist to serve the self. I'm kind of skimming through here.
No,
Increase
it's all good.
food. The earth can yield much more. Earth and space exist to serve the self. Refuse not food to those who are hungry. When you feed the hungry, you serve the Lord, from whom is born every living creature. And then at the very end, you kind of get this. Let's see. At the beginning, what was this? The self and man and the son are one. Those who understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you get this phrase. They sing in wonder. I am the food of life. I am. I am. I eat the food of life. I eat. I eat. I link food and water. I link. I link. I am the firstborn of the universe. Other gods. I'm immortal. Who shares food with the hungry protects me. Who shares not with them is consumed by me. I am this world, and I consume this world. They who understand me understand this life.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
No, I think it's interesting. Just as you were reading, it was like it's funny the perspectives one can have on food. I mean, I'm having a renewed perspective
Hmm.
because I'm trying to increase my calorie intake to gain more weight. So I mean, now it's like I'm just it's almost a chore to be
Hmm.
honest, but a good chore. Um, but it's interesting. Like it's uh, when athletes look at it as fuel, so they're going to analyze every little thing that's going into their body, right?
Yeah.
Um, Probably most, I don't know, your average, let's say American, let's say, or person, it just looks at it as um, fill appetite.
Or tastes
Like
good.
I'm hungry, yeah, or tastes good, right?
Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. You know, but I guess what I'm getting at is it's fundamentally essential. Like
Hmm.
without it, you have no life. And
Yeah.
not only that, it's daily. It's like so it's not just sort of like I can eat on Mondays and then oh wow Friday no, it's like a daily. So
Yeah.
it's interesting that there's such a focus on it, right? In this Upanishad, actually both of these Upanishads, but it makes sense because of how necessary and routine it is. You know,
Hmm.
it's something we need. And it's interesting too, like you think about for Catholics, the Mass, which is the sort of most important liturgy that happens daily, truly, it's bread and wine.
Hmm.
It'd be interesting sort of to reflect on, if you will, like the theology of food as we're going through this, as opposed to it's
Yeah.
just sort of ancillary. It's just like, right, yeah, I need to eat something, you know.
Yeah.
No, um, it
Food's
can
a.
be thought about. It can be ritualized,
Hmm. Hmm. I think
and
food
often
is like
is.
I mean, it's very cultural, right? Every culture has its own food and the way that it, like, binds people together. I think every
Yeah,
religion probably has its own methods or
yeah,
rituals with food. It's very integrated into the
yeah.
human experience.
Culture does,
Yeah.
especially like American culture, like Thanksgiving, great example.
Hmm.
Like
Hmm.
you know what you're going to eat.
Yep.
The Fourth of July barbecue. I mean, as sort of some examples.
Yeah. Hmm.
And so
Yeah.
with them, what becomes really interesting is the call to fast. Then has sort of this flip on it, where
Hmm.
it's like when we fast, then we see what we're depriving ourselves of. Spiritual insight occurs. Hopefully, um, suffering occurs, and then a new appreciation of that sustenance
Hmm.
at the end of the fast.
Yeah.
I mean, like Muslims, they're hardcore during Ramadan. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's sunrise to sunset, and that's for a day. That's I want to. I don't know if it's 30 days. I don't know. We'll find out or more. But that's like hardcore.
It's
You
fasting
know?
all day, but then eating like at night.
Yeah,
Okay.
you get to it was
Yeah.
sundown. You can do it. You know,
Gotcha.
but and Catholics. We're weak. It's like Ash Wednesday and Good Friday, which was yesterday.
Hmm.
I because I'm viewing myself as having wow, maybe not a health emergency, but a health urgency. Decided to bypass
Hmm.
because I'm like I just quit smoking,
Yeah.
so I don't
You
want
got to keep
I
something
don't want to
going.
bring on more temptations while fasting. Like I'm just sort of
Yeah.
like that doesn't make spiritual sense.
Yeah.
So, but anyway,
Yeah.
Lesser Upanishads.
Yeah. If there's
Can I just
anything from the
start with the one?
Aitareya,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Aitareya.
Let me see. Did we do short thrift to that? No, we did a good
Yeah, yeah.
chunk on that. Oh, there was one line I liked there. In the Aitareya, 273, part two.
Hmm.
Um, this isn't the part, but I'll at least lead in. Life begins in man as sexual fluid, which has the strength gathered from all his limbs. Man holds the quintessence in his body, and it becomes child and woman. This is the first birth. Child and mother are one. She protects the child and needs protection. The mother carries the child in her womb, and the father bestows his loving care before and after birth. Here is a line. The child is, I just thought this was a really beautiful image because you need images with I'm sorry, Atman and Brahma.
Hmm.
The child is their Atman, their very self, and continues their line without break as the second birth. So their child is the Atman of their very self. Beautiful image,
Hmm. Yeah.
right? Right.
Yeah.
Sort of the combination of the two, right, creates this new being, and the new being is the Atman of their self, their more fundamental self.
Yeah.
I
No,
thought
it's a
that
really
was
cool image.
yeah, because you need images, right,
Yeah.
to help with this. Oh, this was the other one. I'm sorry. Ready?
Yeah.
This is we got to mention this. This is it's right below that. Um, uh, hold on. Vamadeva.
Hmm.
This is just beautiful. The sage Vamadeva declared of old, while dwelling in the womb, I understood the birth of all the gods. 100 forms, strong as steel, held me prisoner, but I broke loose from them like a hawk from the cage and came out swiftly. Here's the part. While still in the womb, Vamadeva made this declaration. He emerged from his mother's womb fully illumined to live in abiding joy and went beyond death. Like I love like
Yeah.
he became a sage probably after like many incarnations. He became a sage in utero.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting.
That's as the kids say, that's fire.
Yeah. I started reading the autobiography of a yogi that you
Yeah.
got me, and
I
at
was wondering.
the very beginning, the first chapter, it's about his parents in early life, and he talks
Mhm.
about things that he remembers from previous lives, and like
Wow.
he was able to remember like his infancy too. And I was like, I don't know, it's just really interesting.
Actually, that would be, Christian, for no other reason, we should pursue this so we can recall our infancy. If we can even just get back to utero, not even another life, that's some accomplishment.
Yeah, I don't know if it was like through meditation he got that, or if I don't know, from his
Oh, well,
previous
also,
incarnation, like he was
yeah.
enlightened and so he was able to remember something from
What,
that
real
early.
quickly, as he's talking about it, is he saying what the cause was, or I mean, he's already illumined, self-illumined as he's writing the
Yeah.
biography, right? So he's just casually mentioning past lives.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, got it. So I guess you can conclude then, because he's already self-realized, he has these insights that
Yeah, and
they
he's like, I was resentfully conscious of not being able to walk or express myself freely. Prayerful surges arose within me as I realized my bodily impotence. My strong emotional life took silent form as words in many languages. Among the inward
wow.
confusion of tongues, my ear gradually accustomed itself to the circumambient Bengali syllables of my people. It's like, I don't know, the way that he's talking about these things, it's like he's got like this vivid
Yeah,
recollection of being
yes.
an infant that doesn't
Yeah,
know how
yeah,
to
yeah.
talk and is like, I can't
Huh.
move the way
Yes, yes.
that I want to.
That would be wild to have that kind of insight.
Yeah.
Keep on reading and tell me about it. It's
Yeah.
been a while since I read it or
Hmm.
heard it. Um, do you want to tackle I don't know, let's put it this way. There were four. There were
Therefore,
four, obviously. Four minor Upanishads. Were there was there any one in particular that sort of got you?
let me see.
Or themes in any or all of them?
Um, these ones didn't touch me as much as the
Yeah,
the previous two.
yeah.
Um,
I really liked the Amritabindu Upanishad, the third.
mhm.
There was just something. I don't know. There was just something about it. I mean, maybe it was like the wording. Um,
Oh yeah, there's some interesting things in there for
yeah.
sure.
I mean, just to start it, the mind may be said to be of two kinds, pure and impure. Driven by the senses, it becomes impure, but with the senses under control, again, a repeated theme, the mind becomes pure.
Hmm.
It is the mind that frees us or enslaves. Oh, this was great too. Actually, this was great because I think was there an introduction to these? Yeah, there was an introduction.
Yeah.
Yep. And it was like this was like as the mind is, so is your life, right? So a lot has to do with what's going on in your mind, the care that you're taking of the care that you are taking of it, or the lack of care that you're taking of it, the lack of control, then
Hmm.
everything else. It's the chariot, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
So if you're if right if the charioteer is not in control, then the horses are. Okay, I think that's one of the things I liked about this. It is the mind that frees us or enslaves. Driven by the senses, we become bound. Master of the senses, we become free. Those who seek freedom must master their senses. When the mind is detached, I also feel like there's a really good flow in its argumentation. You with me? Sort of the one the this isn't it's not jumping around.
Yeah.
When the mind is detached from the senses, one reaches the summit of consciousness. Mastery of the mind leads to wisdom. Practice meditation. I love this. Stop all vain talk. The highest state is beyond reach of thought, for it lies beyond duality. So back to the idea that we won't be able to think our way there.
Hmm.
Keep repeating the ancient mantra Om until it reverberates in your heart.
I like that line.
Brahman, yeah, likewise. Brahman is indivisible and pure. Realize Brahman and go beyond all change. He is immanent and transcendent. Realizing him, sages attain freedom and declare there are no separate minds, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
And they have but realized what they always are. Waking, sleeping, dreaming, the self is one. Transcend these three. This also goes back to our the sort of the levels of consciousness or the different states of consciousness, right?
Yes.
That we've read about before. Transcend these three and go beyond rebirth. There is only one self in all creatures. The one appears many, just as the moon appears many, reflected in water. The self appears to change its location, but does not, just as the air in a jar changes not when the jar is moved about. When the jar is broken, the air knows not. But the self knows well when the body is shed. We see not the self concealed by Maya. When the veil falls, we see we are the self. The mantram is the symbol of Brahman. Repeating it can bring peace to the mind. Knowledge is twofold, lower and higher. Realize the self, for all else is lower. Realization is, I love this, realization is rice, all else is chaff.
Mm-hmm.
The milk of cows of any hue is white. The sages say that wisdom is the milk and the sacred scriptures are the cows. As butter lies hidden within milk, the self is hidden in the hearts of all. Turn the mind through meditation on it. Light your fire through meditation on it. The self, all whole, all peace, all certitude. I have realized the self, declares the sage, who is present in all beings. I am united with the Lord of love. I am united with the Lord of love. There was just something about it where it was like, it didn't jump around. Sometimes the Upanishads jump around, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is no story. Stories are fine, but there
Mm-hmm.
is no story, and everything seems to be really clear.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't a lot. You know how we were like, "Hey, how is fire speech?" Right? Everything
Yeah.
is sort of like really sort of like step by step, almost like a deductive argument that you're sort of moving step by step,
Yeah.
ultimately to the conclusion, which we just read. I have realized the self. Right?
Yeah.
There's just really strong.
It flows very well.
Um,
You also get
yeah.
in 21 line verse 21,
Hmm.
um,
Hmm.
light your fire through meditation. I think you kind of get the
Yeah.
connection of fire from the other translation that we had between fire and
Yeah.
meditation. So I
Yeah.
wonder if there's more connection between those words.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. Yeah. Turn the mind through meditation on it. That's a nice one with butter.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. That's. I actually after the call, I'll look it up in the other translation. Although it'll probably ruin it for me. Just to see it. Uh, so. So yeah. I mean, the if anything, I mean, and I know we'll do a concluding one next week, right, on the Upanishads
Yeah.
as we read the right. But
Mm-hmm.
if anything, um, yeah, I mean, they're like, well, with this one in particular, it's as I already said, it's like take care of your mind, and not just be smart or whatever, but like what's going on in it, what are you putting in it, how can you train it, right,
Yeah.
with meditation or with various like acts of charity and kindness, like what that all affects it. Am I getting angry? Am I being uh, uh, sort of am I not reflecting before I act? All these things, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
that's the heart of it. It's the source of everything that we're going to end up doing. You know. Um, so and in terms of the smoking with me this past week, it's been like it's I've had a very cush week. I did it on purpose. Colleen's still on leave, so I'm always around her,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm hat sitting for my neighbor who's away, which means I get to read his newspaper that comes in. So I literally have been getting coffee, reading the newspaper. I don't like reading the news on the phone, but I do like reading news and just chill. So all these little like steps of like, well, don't be stupid. You know, it's good to be around someone to hold you accountable. It's nice to introduce you need to do what I call the Indiana Jones trade. You're taking out something, you need to put something in.
Yeah.
So like the newspaper and the coffee and sitting outside is sort of equivalent to the, and just reflecting too. It's sort of like, oh, this is gonna die. This is dying. The
Mm-hmm.
desire is dying. It's slowly dying. You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
still there. I'll smell it somewhere, and it's like, oh, that smells good. And then all these images rush back about smoking, and good images of smoking as were our memories. But it's just an interesting sort of psychological experience over the past 5 days, and now into
Mm-hmm.
the sixth, of like how the mind works. And then when I have those moments of like, well, this was one. This was so silly. It's like, wait a minute, we're gonna go sailing with Joe. What do we do? What do Joe and I do when we go sailing? We smoke and drink. So
Yeah.
what am I gonna, like, literally that thought's in my mind. I'm like, that is so stupid. Like,
That's not even
that's
now,
like,
you know? It's like
it's not even now. It's not even now, and it might not even happen, right?
yeah,
But it's
right.
funny how it's in there. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's deeply lodged in there, and that's so like well, what they say is like the addiction speaking, but it's in my mind, and so I have this little battle with it, you know, and
Yeah.
it's wild to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, take care of your mind,
Yeah.
you
I
know.
mean, for real, it's like your your mind, your brain, right? Like you, the more you do something, the more you pave a path, the more you let a plant grow, right? Essentially.
Yep,
And eventually that path becomes a highway or that plant
yeah,
becomes a large tree. And to take
yeah,
that down or to turn a highway back into a forest is really difficult, right? To
yeah,
make it hard to
yes,
traverse through. Because
totally,
the path is like if once it's a highway, it's really easy to walk down.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and so you have to let it die over time and regrow
yeah,
essentially.
yeah,
And that's kind of what
yeah,
you're doing. You're letting it starve out. Um, you're starving out the plant, or you're letting the
yep.
weeds grow back around the highway.
Precisely, precisely. No,
Yeah.
it's so it's, I mean, just to sort of connect it with all this, you know, and here's the other thing I like too, is I told you before, I don't like being a slave to it. Now I'm
Mm-hmm.
not a slave to it. Right now, I mean, I'm hoping never to go back,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not a slave to it. Like that's actually a really great feeling. Seriously, because
Yeah.
otherwise, as I told you, I'm always thinking about the next one,
Yeah.
right? Oh, it's been a half hour. I mean, that's way too long.
Right.
Yeah. So you're always thinking about the next one. And then the other one, and I like this too, is the growing reality, not just sense, the growing reality of self-control. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's wild. I'm beating this. I am beating it. This is a hard thing to beat, you know, and I'm beating it. And that is, there's a strength in that.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, I'll say this, it's sexy to Colleen
Yeah.
because it's something to admire, right? Its strength is much more admirable than weakness,
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure.
especially weakness that smells like cigarette smoke. You know, you're right. Are you with me?
No, I feel
So,
you. Yeah.
so those elements, they're intangible, right? It's not a cigarette, and it's not smoke in the lungs, but
Mm-hmm.
there is something about it where it's like these are all good feelings. These are all good accomplishments.
Yeah. No, and it's
Uh,
good to focus on that because if you weren't
yeah,
focusing on that, then what would you? It's the Indiana Jones thing. What are
you.
you swapping it out with?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
And to you, to your yoga as well,
Thank
you
you.
know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
I did a meditation last night. Um, that was very interesting.
oh, do
I,
tell.
I I don't know. I just felt like a lot was going on in my head, so I went for a
Hmm.
walk, and well, I ended up meeting a neighbor, and we walked a bit, and then he ended up going. So I just like um, looked at the river for a bit, and then just sat in the middle of the path
Hmm.
and did some ohms,
Yeah.
and then just like noted. Well, actually, before I did the ohms, I sat there and just like tried to meditate and focus on my thoughts. But I literally
Did you,
felt like an ocean was churning in my head,
wow.
and I was like, I can't like there's so many thoughts, and I just feel like it's moving. So
Yeah.
I did like I don't know 7 or 8 ohms,
Yeah.
long ohms,
Yeah.
and then at the end it was pretty quiet,
Yeah.
and I don't know, like I had no timer or anything. I was just, it was the evening,
Yeah.
and I was just sitting there, closed my eyes until I felt like basically there were no thoughts, more or less.
Yeah. Wow.
And then I ended with a couple ohms, and then I was just in this really blissful state. And like what I realized was that a lot of the things that were churning in my mind
Hmm.
were external attachments, like
Yeah.
things that people would expect of me or the world or society. And it's just like,
Sure. Sure.
it's kind of like the addiction of smoking in that like you're
Yeah.
trying to grab for the cigarette or like, like
Hmm.
you're mentally trying to grab for it. And so it's like for this, it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
trying to grab onto the people, the society around me that's like,
Yeah.
I need to do this, I need to be this way because
Yes.
this is what's
Yes.
expected of me. But then when I
Yeah.
finally was able to ohm and
Yeah.
be at peace, I was like, all of those things are silly. Like, why
Yeah.
am I
Yeah.
grabbing? Like, why does it matter if I look a certain way or act a certain
Yeah.
way or have a
Yeah.
certain job or make a certain amount?
Yeah.
Like all of these things, it's just like why are those even
Yeah.
in my mind? And then I was able to, once I was just thought free essentially.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
um I just kind of stood up and walked around, and it's like I was alone physically, as far as I'm aware,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, in the forest, right after the sunset, and I just kind of walked around and I felt like, I don't know, it's weird. I don't even know how to describe it. I felt like Christian was there,
Yeah.
and that was it. It was just Christian,
Nice.
and it was
Nice.
like
Nice.
my younger me, like
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah. Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
noticed me doing all of these things that I've done throughout my life. And it's
Yeah.
like I'm a curious person. And so it's like I
Yeah.
just kind of wandered around and like looked at trees and the
Yeah.
dirt, and I don't know, I was like I can take my shoes off. Like I'm
Yeah.
outside on a
Yeah. Yeah.
path.
Yeah.
I can just do that.
Yeah.
Like people don't normally just
Yeah.
do that. And
Yeah.
so I just did. Um and then yeah, I don't know. It was really cool. I'm probably gonna do it again, but
Yeah.
I
No,
haven't
I
I
think
haven't been
that's
regularly meditating. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
it's been something that I've wanted to do, and I was just like, I don't know, I felt like stuff had built up, and I was like, I just need
Yeah.
to do it, and I did it,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
just
Yeah. Yeah.
felt like such a good release. And then
Yeah.
what was left was just like a purer version of me.
Sure. Sure. Yeah. 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 Because essentially, you're getting rid of all those. I think in Zen Buddhism they call them thought weeds.
Mm-hmm.
You sort of cut them out.
Yeah.
You know, and you're left with you're almost left with sort of like, I mean, I don't want to say pure consciousness, but just your pure consciousness.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But that's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you.
seriously, seriously, uh, that's wild. And also too the sort of the thing you were talking about, not just sort of like getting back to yourself, but also like experiencing peace
Mm-hmm.
and in some type of bliss when all that chatter and churning slowed down, you know.
Om
Um,
works.
yeah.
That's all I
Oh,
can say.
I kid you not. I will. So at night I've been doing a mix. So usually it's at night because I know as soon as I lay down, even if I don't lay down and just fall asleep. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Especially too because we haven't really been drinking because there's a connection between smoking and drinking for me. So we really haven't been drinking this week. We had a little bit of wine last night. But so when I go to bed, I'll I have to have a mantra. And if I don't, it's I'm thinking about this, and so on and so forth. And I'd rather settle that. So I'll move between ohms. Ohms are tricky, especially when you sleep with someone,
Yeah.
in the bed, and also it's hard to do an ohm in your head quietly
Mm-hmm.
for me, but I can do the first line of the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, the Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha, which literally says yoga is about stilling the mind.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the very line is about what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
So I can do that one. That's much easier to do quietly without bothering. But my other one is actually praying the rosary, which is more in tune with the my present Catholic incarnation. And that is that's basically it's the rosary runs. We'll do this when we do the Catholicism, but you've seen the beads,
Hmm.
like a Catholic holding beads. Basically, it starts with the Apostles' Creed. It goes into the circle. So it starts with a couple of beads before. So it's Apostles' Creed, one Our Father, three Hail Marys, and then you do an Our Father, and then a decade, so 10 Hail Marys. You close with Glory be to the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, blah, blah, blah. And then you repeat that four more times around the rosary. So you have beads when you do it normally.
Hmm.
But so what I'll do is I'll do that. I mean, it has the same effect. It cuts right through. It's a prayer of sorts. It's a way of focusing the mind, and it's much easier to do than the ohms. Sometimes I'll do the ohms if I'm driving by myself or if I'm waiting. But I
Yeah.
haven't meditated. I don't think I meditated this week. I meditated one other time during, before, like I don't know, over the past 2 weeks. But usually it's like in the car,
Hmm.
which is not sort of like a parked car,
Yeah.
but not as conducive. But I would say like the running the mantras, that I'm doing a version of that every night.
Hmm.
And then if I'm about my day, and then the monkey mind starts to arise, even if I'm just like working in the kitchen or something, or using the bathroom or something, I'll just be like, okay, nope, 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 we're not doing that. You know, we're, we're gonna do this
Hmm.
instead.
Hmm.
So it's very portable.
Yeah.
you know.
I
Oh,
can.
by the way, along with that, I've barely been on this. So like it's been like alcohol, smoking, and phone, and it's been great
Nice.
in
Yeah.
terms of just like pushing it to the side.
Hmm.
So it's seriously, my phone is constantly running out of like battery now because I'm not charging it. It's not on me, and it's what else? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. When I told Michael that I'm making this change, he was like, "Can I delete chess.com?" I'm like, "Do it, just do it." So now I'm just focused on my classes with my teacher
Hmm.
as opposed to
Hmm.
like grinding on it. So anyway,
Wow.
there we go. All right.
Yeah.
Om
Om
Shanti
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 Shanti.
Shanti.